Chaitanyeshwaram. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Now, we are into a very, very interesting subsection of Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 4. And we have done text 5 and 6 of this subsection. So the name of the subsection, you could say, is Parikshit Maharaj's question. Now question has been asked. Parikshit Maharaj is asking question to whom? To Sukdev Goswami. Similarly, the sages of Naimisharanya, they also asked questions to Suta Goswami. And Suta Goswami was pleased. And Suta Goswami praised that the sages, they asked such wonderful questions related to Krishna Katha. Similarly, Parikshit Maharaj out here to Sukdev Goswami, he is also asking questions about Krishna Katha. And Sukdev Goswami is also very pleased and very happy about it. So similarly, we find that there are questions which had been asked by Arjuna to Krishna directly, and Krishna so lovingly he answered those questions, and Krishna was also very pleased about questions. So we find in Bhagavatam, Srinvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Sravana Kirtanaha Hridi Antasto hi Abhadrani Vidunoti Suhrit Satam. So questions lead to auspiciousness, questions lead to purity, and questions lead to mode of goodness. And we keep hearing from Srila Prabhupada that at least we should be in the mode of goodness. Only then, maybe in the course of our journey, we can attain mode of pure goodness. But to attain mode of pure goodness, we require mercy. On our own, it is very difficult to attain mode of pure goodness. So we will directly move to verse 7.
I didn't mention that Prabhu is also teaching Bhagavatam to many people. So these are all his notes. So whenever he goes to study something or teach something, he goes deep and he goes all the way. So
all right, text 7 goes like this: Yatha gopayati vibhur,
Yatha gopayati vibhur,
Yatha samyachate punaha, Yam yam shaktim upasritya, Puru Shakti Parah Puman, Atmanam Kridayan Kridan, Karoti Vikaroti Cha. There are wonderful words out here in this particular verse. Gopayati. Gopayati is maintains. Who maintains? Krishna maintains. And Samyachate, who destroys, who annihilates. Krishna organizes to annihilate. Then Yam Yam Shakti, how does he do all this? Because of his potencies, the energies, various energies of Krishna. Puru Shakti, what is Puru Shakti? Parapuman, that is his expansions. Parapuman. Puman is basically, what is Puman? Puman is personality of Godhead. And Atmanam are his plenary expansions, the incarnations. What does he do? Kridan. Just see in Raslila, Krishna is dancing. All right, dancing with devotees. And here, Bhagavatam is saying that even Srishti Leela is like a dance of Krishna. So there is no difference between Ras Leela and Srishti Leela. All right, let's go ahead. This translation goes like this. Kindly, please, anybody could read the translation.
Kindly describe how the Supreme Lord is all powerful. Guru Shakti Paraha Puman engages different energies, Shakti, and different expansions, Atmanam, in maintaining Gopayati and again winding up the phenomenal world is the sporting spirit of a player.
So all these words so beautifully Srila Prabhupada has organized in this translation. And he has pointed out about the Supreme Lord, the energies of the Lord, expansions of the Lord, and what he does with all that, maintains as well as winds up. And how does he do all that? With sporting spirit of a player. This is the beauty of this particular verse. Let us go ahead. In Bhagavad Gita also we find about this maintenance and annihilation, that Krishna keeps doing this. Krishna himself is saying that there is material manifestation as well as there is he creates, he manifests, and then there is maintenance, and finally there is annihilation. How does God do all this? So this is a verse from Katha Upanishad. Srila Prabhupada writes like this: the Supreme Lord is described as the chief eternal being amongst all other eternal individual beings. So Nitya Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. And the one Supreme Lord who maintains innumerable other individual living beings. Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kaman. So see, there are two words out here. One is Eko. Eko is one. And Vidadati Kaman. Bahunam. So one and Bahu. One is single and Bahu is many. So who is single? Single is Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Nityo indicates single. If you there are some lectures of Srila Prabhupada which clarify this particular point. Nitya is basically single. Who is single? Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Nityanam in Sanskrit is Bahu, plural. So who is Bahu? Living beings are Bahu. So Nitya Nityanam, Chetanas Chetananam. Similarly, the supreme consciousness and individual consciousness. All this is indicated where? Katha Upanishad. Katha Upanishad belongs to Vedas. So Vedas are actually speaking about the supreme potency of the Lord. And how the supreme potency of the Lord is appearing? In the form of his expansions. So there is Mahavishnu. How is Mahavishnu coming? We will discuss about that in the course of this discourse. Then we see this particular picture, whether the picture is very, we'll have to see the picture. If you could come down to the picture. The picture. See, the one in the middle is the universal form, Virat Rup. If you go to Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11, you will find Krishna showed two forms. First, he showed a form which had multiple heads, multiple limbs, multiple everything. And then he showed the Kal Roop. But what was the first form that he showed?
The one that annihilates.
One that annihilates, one that maintains. Because that is if you go to Bhagavatam, you would have already gone through, you would find that this universal form starts from Patal Loka to the head is the Satya Loka. This what maintenance only. What is this particular form? This form is the Paramatma form. So there is one Paramatma who is all pervading and who is revealing himself in different forms. So there is Paramatma also in the heart, Paramatma in atoms. So in Brahma Samhita we understand that Paramatma is there in every atom. So take your body, for example, our body, any body. There is Paramatma in the heart. We say the Paramatma is there in the heart. There is Paramatma in Ranchor Prabhu's heart. There is Paramatma in Alankar Prabhu's heart, everybody's heart. So there are different Paramatmas or same Paramatma? Same Paramatma. So there are Paramatma in the atoms. Same body, there are so many Paramatmas. There are, we can understand like that. And then there are some germs inside the body. So each germ will be a living entity only. So there are Paramatmas, so many Paramatmas. No, there is only one single Paramatma who is actually maintaining this entire cosmic manifestation. So Srila Prabhupada writes like this: so all living entities, both in the conditioned state and in the liberated state, are maintained by the Almighty Supreme Lord. Such maintenance is effected by the Lord through his different expansions of self and three principal energies, namely internal, external, and marginal energies. So expansions we know, Vishnu's two Trini Rupani, that we know. How, if you can scroll down, you will find that particular verse from Satvata Tantra, and it's also quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita about the three forms of Purushas: Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, Shirodakshai Vishnu. Paramatma, same Paramatma. Just like if Krishna is there, Krishna in Dwarka, what happened? Krishna expanded into 16,108. There were so many queens, so each houses, Krishna was enacting his role as a husband. So is that there are multiple Krishnas or single Krishna? Similarly, there is single Paramatma. This is what we have understood. This Paramatma is the one who has all this potency, I mean, as an expansion, and who does all this maintenance. The living entities are his marginal energies, and some of them are are selected by Paramatma, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, to become Brahma. Now, I have captured few verses from Bhagavatam regarding Brahma. Who becomes Brahma? One particular verse is in Canto 4, chapter 24. So I'm not going through the verse. If you come down, yes. A person who executes his occupational duty properly for 100 births becomes qualified to occupy the post of Brahma. So you know who is Brahma. There is another very, very important portion revealed by Srila Prabhupada in Canto 9, chapter 24. He says, both the Lord and the living entity, being qualitatively spirit soul, have the tendency for peaceful enjoyment. But when the part of the Supreme Personality of Godhead unfortunately wants to enjoy independently without Krishna, so Bhogavancha kare, Krishna bahirmukh huya Bhogavancha kare. That is what we are basically doing. And we are doing all that because of Ichha Dvesa Samuthena, chapter 7, verse 27 of Bhagavad Gita. So then what happens? What Srila Prabhupada is revealing? So what this part and parcel, Mamai Vangsho Jiva Loke, what do this part and parcel want to do? They want to enjoy independently without Krishna. Then he is put into the material world where he begins his life as Brahma. So there is another criteria of becoming Brahma. So don't you think we were all Brahmas when we began our journey in this material sky? We were, according to Srila Prabhupada. Yes. And Srila Prabhupada keeps talking about that, quotes this particular verse, in chapter 15, verse 7 of Bhagavad Gita, that we are struggling with our six senses in this particular material world. So now, Bhagavatam talks about 10 topics. In Canto 2, chapter 10 of Bhagavatam, we will find first verse 1. What is more important is to note about these two words, Sargo and Visargo. Sarga is the creation of the universe, and Visarga is subcreation. Who does subcreation? Brahmaji does subcreation. Brahmaji is entrusted with this task of doing subcreation. It is almost like, say, in a house, you have a refrigerator. Somebody buys a refrigerator, and then somebody plugs in the refrigerator to the electricity. That does not mean that the refrigerator starts working. Then what you have to do? You have to populate that refrigerator. You have to put some vegetables inside and some stuffs inside, which will be basically like kept there as storage. Similarly, what Garbhodakshai Vishnu does, or the Virat Roop does, Virat Roop has already created this entire structure of the cosmic manifestation, and Brahmaji is entrusted with the task of populating it. Yeah. How does he do it? He has his children, and he makes his children populate. So to the extent of 8.4 million species, all of them get populated by the sons of his children. So for example, some of the children are serpents, some are birds, some are animals, some are insects. All of them get populated by this particular process which Brahmaji enacts. And how does Brahmaji do it? Brahmaji basically uses Vedas, the manual that he gets from Krishna, through his flute. That is the way he does it. And how does he determine what sort of yoni or what sort of body that a particular living entity has to be given? Just imagine, first time we have landed in the material universe. First time. Let us think about that. First time. Did we carry a subtle body with us? No, we did not. Very subtle body. Just, I mean, I'll explain to you about that. Subtle body has just, subtle elements has just got created. At the same, subtle elements has just got created, gross elements has got created. The living entities are supposed to be lying on the body of Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu has organized Shambhu to carry us into a universe. Now that we have entered into an universe, now we are, and Mahavishnu has appeared in the form of Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and we are lying on the body of Garbhodakshai Vishnu. I ask this question, what happened to our karma? What happened to our swabhav? What happens to our memories? Where do they go? There is no subtle body. It's just souls which have been planted in the womb of Durga Devi. And then we are lying on the body of Garbhodakshai Vishnu. So so it's said that in a subtle form, all this karma and swabhava and the memories and the vrittis and the smriti, all of them lie along with the soul. And then Brahmaji identifies what sort of swabhava you have, means which particular mode of material nature is prominent in you, what is your karma, what are the various vrittis you have, what are the various smritis you have. Based on that, you are given a particular body. That means you become a son of Brahma, having a particular type of body. So this is the way the whole sub-creation takes place. All right, let's go down. Now, for example, there is a particular verse again in Canto 2, Chapter 10, verse 3, which defines what is Sarga and what is Visarga. Sarga is basically, I'll explain to you Sarga from a diagram, from a picture. If you can go down to the picture. See, first picture shows that there was only Mahavishnu before all this creation took place, all this manifestation took place, and there were all the living entities lying on the body of Mahavishnu, and there was Pradhan. Pradhan is unmanifested material sky. What did Mahavishnu do? Glanced at Pradhan, made the three modes appear, made the three modes manifest, and that became Mahatattva. From Mahatattva came out all the 24 elements, starting from Ahankar, which is false ego, and the 24 elements including mind, intelligence, senses, sense objects, all that, and the gross elements. And in between, another thing that Mahavishnu did, Mahavishnu planted us into these, using all these elements, the universes were created. He entered into the universe as Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and Mahavishnu planted us in this. So that is the superstructure which Mahavishnu did, and we know about the superstructure that Garbhodakshai Vishnu did, and then comes the work of Brahmaji. So Garbhodakshai Vishnu has also created a superstructure, and then Brahmaji's work. In Brahmaji's work, what happens? The same elements which were created by Mahavishnu, they are used to give us a covering. So this covering that we have, the gross body covering, the subtle body covering, even the energy body covering, that is Pranamaya Kosh, all that came from the elements that got created at the time of creation. So the external energy is also impregnated with the jivas or conditioned souls. The unconditional marginal potency acts in the spiritual kingdom, and the Lord, by his different plenary expansions, maintains them in different transcendental relations displayed in the spiritual sky. So the one Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests himself in many, Bahusyam, and thus all diversities are in him, and he is in all diversities, although he is nevertheless different from all of them. So on one hand, he is the one who initiates. On the other hand, he is the one who's not affected by all that he has initiated. So there is a element of Achinta Veda Ved Tattva that also comes out from this Srishti Leela. Let us go to the next verse, text 8. Nunam Bhagavato Brahman Harer Adbhuta Karmanaha Durvibhavyam Ivabhati Kavibhischapi Cheshtitam Harer Adbhuta Karmanaha. Adbhuta Karmanaha. Very, very astonishing, very, very remarkable Karmanaha. Activities of whom? Harer, Lord, Supreme Lord. So the translation goes like this. If anybody could read the translation.
O learned Brahmana, the transcendental activities of the Lord are all wonderful. Hare Adbhuta Karmanaha. And they appear inconceivable. Durvibhavyam. Because even great endeavors by many learned scholars have still proved insufficient for understanding them.
Hare Krishna. Purport. The acts of the Supreme Lord in the creation of just this one universe appear inconceivably wonderful. And there are innumerable universes, and all of them aggregated together are known as the created material world. So Mahavishnu, from his pores, when he breathes out, he does not breathe out from his nose. He breathes out from his entire body, because Sakalendriya Vriyati Manti. Brahma Samhita talks that every sense of his can enact the power potency of the other senses, every other senses. So all these universes get manifested, and then he enters into each of these universes as Garbhodakshai Vishnu and starts this entire process. Leela, Kridan. That is the sporting spirit of the Lord is noticed by all this that he is creating. This part of his creation is only a fractional portion of the complete creation. The material world stands as a part only. Ekam sena sthito jagat. So 1/4 of this entire creation of his is this material situation, and on 3/4 is the spiritual situation, the spiritual sky. Supposing that the material world is a display of one part of his energy, the remaining 3 parts consist of Vaikuntha Jagat, or spiritual world, described in the Bhagavad Gita as Madhama. Madhama, Paramam Mamam. And or Sanatan Dhama, or eternal world. We have marked in the previous verse that he creates and again winds up the creation. This action is applicable only in the material world, because in the spiritual world there is no concept of annihilation. It's eternal. Is either created, neither created nor annihilated. The Vaikuntha Dham is eternal. The Lord exists with his Dham, or in other words, with his eternal name, qualities, pastimes, entourage, and personality, which are all a display of his different energies. So one thing which excites you, one thing which interests you is the Goloka. This Goloka chart is wonderful. The Goloka chart describes how the Golok Vrindavan is. Golok Vrindavan is like a lotus, and the whirl of the lotus is where Radha Krishna, they are enacting their pastimes, wonderful pastimes. And Radha Krishna displays that this is the way some of their pastimes are, they display when they appear one day of Brahma once. And they do that in Bhauma Vrindavan. And this sort of a display is happening in all the universes. Every universe you will find Krishna has one of his branch office, which is basically the Bhauma Vrindavan, the Vrindavan on the Bhumandala, where he enacts. And similarly, close by is Navadvip, where again he appears as Lord Chaitanya, and he explains what sort of activities are actually happening in Vrindavan, because without Krishna himself actually explaining his pastimes, we are so dull-headed Kali Yuga people, qualified for Kali Yuga, that we don't understand what's going on in Goloka and what exactly happened during the Krishna Leela in Vrindavan. And then obviously there is Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha, where Narayan stays with four hands. Gop Kumar, he went to Vaikuntha, then he was running towards Narayan. People stopped him. What are you doing? Why are you running? Because I want to go and embrace Narayan. I want to go and embrace the Supreme Lord. No, you can't embrace the Supreme Lord. You can at best shake hands. You can pay respects. That's all that you can do. Then Gop Kumar thought, no, this is not my Supreme Lord. I'll have to go somewhere else. Then finally he reaches Goloka. In Goloka, he sees Krishna from far. He runs. Krishna also runs. And both of them embrace each other and roll on the ground, crying, and Krishna asking him, where were you all these days? Although there is no concept of day and night in the spiritual world, but still, if Krishna desires day, day manifests. If Krishna desires night, night manifests. So it's all based on supreme will of the Supreme Lord, Krishna, in the spiritual world. Yeah, the Lord is called Anadi, or having no creator, Adi, or the origin of all. We think in our own imperfect way that the Lord is also created, but the Vedanta informs us that he is not created, rather everything else is created by him. Narayanaha paro avyaktat. And Srila Prabhupada has given several examples of what sort of mundane thought process is there, not only amongst commoners, but also amongst scientists, great scientists, so-called great scientists. In Brahma Samhita, there is one particular verse which talks about Yasya Prabha Prabhavato Jagatanda Koti Kotishva Shesha Vasudhadi Vibhuti Bhinnam Tad Brahma Nishkalam Anantam Shesha Bhutam Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. So Vibhuti Bhinnam. So how does Lord create? We have understood so much of activities that Lord is doing in the form of Paramatma only. So he has manifested this entire material elements. Then he has manifested the all the planetary systems within within each universe. All that he is doing based on his Vibhuti Bhinnam. Vibhuti means specific powers, and Bhinnam means variegated. So he has multiple potencies, and Krishna, in the form of Paramatma, he uses his multiple potencies. And we try to attain him. How do we attain him? Bhagavad Gita very clearly spells that. Yanti mad yajino api mam. So if you worship Krishna, then you will be able to attain Krishna. So one very important element of devotional service is worship of Krishna. So I have picked up two verses. 9.34. That is the verse, very, very famous verse, the last verse of chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita. Manmana bhava mad bhakto madi yaji mam namaskuru mam evasyashi yuktvayivam atmanam mat parayanaha. See, engage your mind always in thinking of me, become my devotee, offer obeisances to me and worship me. The word worship me comes out here also. But then the next line says like this, being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. So very nice. So that's it. There's a proof both in Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, everywhere there's proof that you can come to Krishna. Then there is another verse, similar verse in chapter 18, verse 65. The second line I am reading, Mam eva shashi satyam te pratijane priyosi me. Second line I will read. Thus he will come to me without fail. Very nice, repeated. But after that, I promise you, because you are my very dear friend. Bhagavad Gita talks about three subjects. One is Sambandha Gyan, that is the relationship that we have, living entities have with Krishna. Two is Abhidheya Gyan, the devotional service that we perform based on the understanding of relationship. Three is Prayojan Gyan. It is not a one-way traffic. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam tathaiva bhajami aham. It is a two-way traffic. It is a reciprocation. Our Lord is a reciprocating Lord. That is what comes out very clearly. You perform your activities. Finally, it is the mercy factor which works. So Maharaj Parikshit statement, Maharaj Parikshit is asking such type of questions Is Maharaj Parikshit that commoner that he doesn't know all this? But he knows all this. But he still wants to know further, and he wants to know from whom? He wants to know from Sukdev Goswami. And why Sukdev Goswami? Sukdev Goswami is a pure devotee. So he wants to know from him. He wants to hear again and again. So it's said like this. In Bhagavad Gita, we also find Bodhantaha Parasparam. Yes, out here at least Parikshit Maharaj is asking a question, and Sukdev Goswami will be answering that question. So there is an element of Bodhanta Parasparam. Even asking questions is very, very important. It requires intelligence to ask questions. Most of us don't ask questions. And if one asks questions, it's so exhilarating that question, at least there is a flow of Buddhi Yoga which is going on out here. Correct? So questions are important. And Parikshit Maharaj is also exemplifying that particular point. And he's asking whom? He's asking somebody who has the capability of answering. Because why? How did he develop that capability? He developed that capability based on whom he has heard. He has heard from those who are capable. Who are capable? Those who are in disciplic succession, they are capable. And how has the disciplic succession formed? What is this concept of disciplic succession? We know all that. In Bhagavad Gita itself, we know these are the people whom we serve and we ask humbly questions. When we ask them questions, tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya, then what will happen? Upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshina. They are tattva darshina. How are they tattva darshina? Because they have heard tattva. Tattva means truth. They have heard truth from those who know truth. And finally, they have heard truth from Krishna only. And who is Krishna? Krishna is absolute truth. So they have heard from Krishna. If they have heard from Krishna, they have heard the right thing. And if they have heard the right thing, they are conveying also the right thing. And if we are getting the right thing, then that's it. That is basically the process which is prescribed for us. So the mercy that we are getting is that Brahmaji has already got the knowledge from Krishna directly. Brahmaji conveyed this particular knowledge to Narad Muni. Narad Muni conveyed that knowledge to Vyasdev. From Vyasdev, we are getting all this literature. Vyasdev, where does Vyasdev reside? Do you know? Not this Badraka ashram that we go and we see and we visit. It's in the greater Himalayas. If we go to Canto 5 of Bhagavatam, we'll understand about greater Himalayas. Vyasdev stays there. And our Madhavacharya went to that greater Himalayas, and there he got all this knowledge of Bhagavatam from Vyasdev. And we are getting that same knowledge directly in disciplic succession. And our the sampradaya that we belong to, or the parampara, or the disciplic succession we belong to, has Madhavacharya as the principal acharya. And Srila Prabhupada is linked to that acharya. So where is mercy flowing? Where were we before we were into Krishna consciousness? Common activities only we were performing. There are few fortunate people who from childhood days have got parents who could inculcate Krishna consciousness. But I am an absolutely rascal. I am an absolutely rotten entity into all sorts of breaking of rules. And then finally, thanks to Bhagavad Gita as it is, thanks to Srila Prabhupada, thanks to devotees, that today maybe I am able to talk some bit about Krishna, who is carrying this entire potencies and who has and whose glorification we are hearing from Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. Let's go to text 9. Text 9 has no purport, but text 9 goes like this. Yatha gunamstu prakriter yugapat karmaso api va vivarti bhurishastava ekah kurvan karmani janmabhi. So here there are some questions which are asked just like a commoner. So the translation, I'll read the translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is one. whether he alone, ekaha, acts with the modes of material nature, kurvan karmani, or simultaneously expands in many forms, vivarti, bhurishas, or expands consecutively, janmavi, to direct the modes of nature. So there is a lot of confusion. These modes of nature are there. Bhagavad Gita, starting from chapter 7 onwards, Krishna is planting this particular seed of the three modes of material nature. Chapter 14, Krishna has totally dedicated to the three modes only. Then chapter 16, obviously, like he talks about divine and demoniac people. And demoniac people are mostly into the mode of ignorance. Chapter 17, whole chapter 17, he is like describing different situations and he is analyzing how the modes are functioning. Chapter 18, beginning of chapter 18, the full thing is also again analysis of the three modes. So much importance he has given to the three modes. The moment we, in Bhakti Shastri, when we go to unit 3, we feel unit 3 is like not up to the mark. Yeah. Unit 2, we have done Bhakti Yoga, and after that, and Bhakti Yoga, that to Ananya Bhakti. And after that, what is this, all this about the three modes that we are studying? So the people send, mostly like devotees like us, like uncultured devotees like us, like me at least, we get fused off. Then we realize later on from Bhagavatam also that no, this is also a very important element, because this is very practical. We are actually like struggling in this ocean of the three modes. Every moment, even what we are eating, even what we are, the behavior that we have, the determination that we have, the knowledge we are trying to gain, the work, that activities that we do, that the type of situations that we are, everything is defined by the three modes. The three modes, if you just imagine the three modes and this Srishti Tattva, they are like linked. Because Srishti Tattva is actually like trying to develop us, go beyond Nistraigunya Bhava Arjuna. We are Vedas. See, why will the Vedas talk about the three modes? Vedas are talking about the three modes, but we have to also understand that we have to transcend the three modes. So, which is the reason why all these questions of Parikshit Maharaj becomes very relevant. Let's go to the next verse, verse 10. Vichikitsitam etan me bravitu bhagavan yatha sabde brahmani nishnatah parashmimscha bhavan khalu. Translation, please.
Kindly clear up all these doubtful inquiries, because you are not only vastly learned in the Vedic literatures and self-realized in transcendence, but are also a great devotee of the Lord and are therefore as good as the personality of God.
Hare Krishna. So, what is Parikshit Maharaj? About whom Parikshit Maharaj is talking about? About Sukdev Goswami. And he is explaining. See, Parikshit Maharaj is also like very elevated. Because he is only explaining that you are very qualified. Imagine. I mean, to a facilitator, you never say to one who sits on a Vyasasan, say you are qualified. But obviously, like if you are qualified only, you make one sit on the Vyasasan. And Vyasasan, to sit on the Vyasasan, I mean, we know about this particular pastime of Balramji, how Balramji treated Romaharsan. Correct? So to sit on the Vyasasan is also not a very, very simple thing. I mean, extreme amount of humility is also required. There's hardly, what do we know? We know nothing. So much of knowledge we have gathered, but still we do not know anything. Because like there is no limit to knowing. And there is no limit to seeking. For example, even after having said all these things, there will be so many questions which will come. Why will questions come? Questions will come because there will be some places which will be missed in a discourse. Whatever amount of knowledge one might have, one will have some limitations in one's delivery. So here in Brahma Samhita it is said, the supreme absolute truth Govinda, the personality of Godhead, although one without a second, is infallibly expanded by innumerable forms, non-different from one another. And although he is the original person, he is still ever young and permanent youthful energy. So I have captured that particular verse. Advaitam achyutam anadim ananta rupam adyam purana purusham nava yovanam cha. So it defines Brahma Samhita, Brahmaji himself. And thanks to Lord Chaitanya, Krishna himself, that he discovered this Brahma Samhita and it presented to us that please go through Brahma Samhita. That entire Golok chart happened because of Brahma Samhita only. Had Brahma Samhita not been there, we wouldn't have had Golok chart. So we would, even Golok chart we don't understand. So much to know about Golok chart. To know about material sky only is so much. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said, he was questioned that he had come out with a daily newspaper on, I think the Harmonist or the something like that. There was a daily newspaper and he was questioned, why are you having a daily newspaper? What is, so how can you have so many news to be published and all? He said, news? This entire material sky has so many newspapers, thick newspapers. Yeah, so much of news is there. And this is only 1/4 of the entire creation. 3/4 of the creation is the spiritual sky. So you think there are no news out there? So much news that the newspapers will not be able to handle. So which is the reason why. So much of understanding that we can also get. So Nava Yovanam Cha. So he is what? Eternally young and fresh. These expansions of different forms of the Lord, I will explain to you from a diagram, but this particular analogy is talking about a river, uncountable waves of a river. So just imagine the potency of the Lord. So when he expands also, his expansions are also not like one or two, innumerable. And it's also, they are like lamps of equal power, which kindle from one lamp to another. That is the transcendental potency of the Lord. So what Srila Prabhupada has actually mentioned about the expansions is captured in this particular chart. So Krishna's Swamsa, that is his direct expansion, is Balaramji. But from Balaramji comes the Chaturvyu. Chaturvyu is Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Anuruddha. This Sankarshan expands into Narayan. And Narayan again expands into second Chaturvyu, that is Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Anuruddha. This second Sankarshan, from him comes Mahavishnu, that is Paramatma. And Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, Shirodakshai Vishnu, we have understood, they are all Paramatma. Paramatma in the heart, Paramatma in the soul, there is only one Paramatma. All the universes, there is one Paramatma who is actually maintaining and who is organizing creation also, sub-creation also, and who is organizing annihilation. The Vedas say that he is so complete that even though the whole complete identity emanates from him, he still remains the same complete whole. So Ishopanishad invocation we find Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Avashishyate. As such, there is no validity in a material conception of the Lord produced by the mental speculator. Thus, he remains always a mystery for the mundane scholars. Even he is vastly learned in the Vedic literatures. Vedeshu Durlabam Adurlabam Atma Bhaktav, from Brahma Samhita 5:33. Therefore, the Lord is beyond the limit of conception for mundane learned scholars, philosophers, or scientists. He is easily understandable for the pure devotee because the Lord declares in the Bhagavad Gita 18.54. What does he say out there? Mad Bhaktim Lavate Param. It is my devotee only who will be able to know about me. When one is able to be engaged in devotional service of the Lord, then only can one know the true nature of the Lord. But how to know the true nature of the Lord? As I began, it is through mercy only. Mercy of the Lord and mercy of his pure devotees. That's all. Because see, when we note the progress of devotional service, having got approximately 75% of the anarthas, when they go away, we attain a level of nishtha. And practically how I explain nishtha is like this. Attentive chanting. For example, I don't do attentive chanting. Attentive chanting, if you are able to do, that means you can say that you are tending towards nishtha. Then after nishtha comes a stage of ruchi. Ruchi is taste. How do you understand that you have attained ruchi? You have finished your 16 rounds, then you want to do your 17th round, and you want to do your 18th round. So your taste has happened in you, in your heart. Then comes the stage of asakti. Asakti is a stage where you want to just do 24 hours chanting. For example, I was hearing one lecture of Adi Gadadhar Prabhu. Adi Gadadhar Prabhu is a doctor. So he has to attend patients. He says when patients come, patients, they talk about their ailments and this and that. So many things are. In my mind, I keep chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Patients think, oh, what a wonderful doctor. So he's so intently listening to me and all. But inside, he says, inside I'm chanting those, whatever I'm supposed to be hearing is all mundane. So that mundane does not capture me, so I keep chanting. So this is basically a quality of asakti, where instead of having attachment to material existence, you are having attachment to Krishna and Krishna's holy name. Once one attains asakti, after that comes stages of mercy. Without mercy, you can't go beyond asakti. 24 hours chanting is possible, because there are many who are enacting 24 hours chanting. But beyond that, to reach bhava stage, which is basically the target or the goal of sadhana bhakti, requires mercy. So there is one stage in between, that is raganuga bhakti. Fortunately, we have Srila Prabhupada with us, and we have disciples of Srila Prabhupada, and we have sannyasis in the movement. What are these sannyasis? What are the disciples doing? They are giving us Srila Prabhupada. So they are basically into Raganuga Bhakti. What we have to do is just follow these disciples, follow these sannyasis, follow those who are following Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, if you go through his lectures, you will find Srila Prabhupada is following his spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, obviously we know, is Nayanmani Manjari. Nayanmani means the eyebrow of Krishna, eyebrow of Srimati. Obviously the Manjari, the moment you talk of Manjari, they are attached to Srimati Radharani. So you can very well say his eyebrow of Srimati Radharani. So if you are latched to this particular disciplic succession, you are fortunately automatically into Raganuga Bhakti. So that is one particular area or element which has been taken care of. Obviously, like having gone through this entire process, finally, again, to reach Bhava Bhakti, you require mercy of pure devotees, mercy of Krishna. Nectar of Devotion explains this very, very clearly. How do I practically explain this Bhava Bhakti? Thanks to Shikshashtakam. So Nayam Galadasru Dharaya Vadanam Gadgada Rudhaya Gira Pulake Nichitam Vapukada Tava Nama Grahane Bhavishyati. When you are crying for Krishna while chanting, then you know Bhava Bhakti, you are able to touch. Many times what happens, particularly when we come for Mangalarti and the darshan opens, and then suddenly like there is an emotion inside, maybe some tears fall. Many devotees have this particular tendency. Tears fall. Are we in Bhava Bhakti? No. This is Bhava Abhas. It is like it shows a potential that Bhava Bhakti can happen to you. You have to only follow this path, this route. You will be able to attain the highest perfection of sadhana bhakti. That is Bhava Bhakti. So that is an abhas that you get. It's almost like Nam Abhas. So there is a Bhava Abhas. Okay. So let's complete this. So we find that in Mad Bhaktim Lavate Param. So Sukdev Goswami is obviously a devotee. Krishna, you know what sometimes he does? So this is wonderful what Srila Prabhupada highlights. The statement of Bhagavad Gita that one must first of all surrender unto the Lord, being freed from all other engagements, means that one must become a pure, unconditional devotee of the Lord. Only then can one know him by the strength of the devotional service. And I'm reading the next green portion or highlighted portion. Not only was Sukdev Goswami vastly learned in the Vedic literatures, but he was also a great self-realized soul and a powerful devotee of the Lord. A powerful devotee of the Lord is, by the grace of the Lord, more than the Lord himself. So we have examples of Hanumanji. Hanumanji, when he crossed from Rameswaram to Lanka, he jumped. But Ramchandra needed a setu. But Ramchandra could have also jumped. Ramchandra did not do that to project how Hanumanji is greater than him. And in case of Ambarish Maharaj also we know that Durvasa Muni, when Sudarshan Chakra was after Durvasa Muni went to Vishnu and he asked Vishnu for protection. Vishnu said, how can I protect you? You have done an aparad, you have done an offense to a devotee, and you have to seek forgiveness from a devotee. So Durvasa Muni had to come to Ambarish Maharaj for forgiveness. Ambarish Maharaj did not take any offense, and Ambarish Maharaj told Sudarshan Chakra, you go away, don't harm him. Like that. So Sudarshan Chakra then went away. So like obviously like the Lord wants to project that his devotees are superior to him. A serious devotee must first approach a spiritual master who not only is well versed in the Vedic literatures, but is also a great devotee with factual realization of the Lord and his different energies. Without the help of such a devotee spiritual master, one cannot make progress in the transcendental science of the Lord. And a bona fide spiritual master like Sukdev Goswami does not speak about the Lord only in the matter of his internal potencies, but also explains how he associates with his external potencies. The Lord's pastimes in the internal potency are displayed in the activities in Vrindavan, but the workings of his external potency are directed in his features of Karanadaksai Vishnu, Garvadaksai Vishnu, and Shirodaksai Vishnu. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has something very interesting for us. So obviously we get attracted to the Ras Leela. But he says even the Srishti Leela is important for us to understand. And then only we will be able to appreciate the Ras Leela. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I close my discourse out here and I open the forum for questions.
There is a nice definition of bhava given by Rupa Goswami. Shanti Ravyartha Kalatvam, Viraktir Mana Shunyata, Asha Bandha Samutkantha, Nama Ganesh Sadaruchi, Ityadyo, Asakti Sad Gunakane, Priti Sad Vasati Stale, Ityadyo, Anubhavashyu, Jata Bhavankura Jane. So he says when ecstatic emotion for the Lord is manifesting, the bhav, he is using Jata Bhava Ankura. The seed of bhava is manifesting, then these symptoms are visible. He says tolerance, forgiveness, shanti, not wasting time, avyartha kalatvam, shanti ravartha, virakti, detachment from all material desire, manashunyata, not desiring respect, ashabandha, feeling very unqualified and having hope in Krishna's mercy, ashabandha, samutkantha, eagerness, Nama Ganesh Sadaruchi. So, very, as you were saying, taste for chanting the holy name. Asakti Stad Gunakhyane, to have attachment to the qualities of the Lord, hearing about. And Priti means love for where Krishna performed his pastimes. Priti Stad Vasati Stale, all the Vrindavan dhams and wherever he performed. So, these are the symptoms, he says, in whose heart ecstatic emotion for Krishna is manifesting in the heart. So one of the most important thing is not waste time. That is one, I think, and detachment from material desire. Unless all these things are there, the bhav is not like Sometimes women cry and everything, but
The Sahajas cry.
Sahajis sometimes cry but they're not really, it can be like sentimental, you can get some emotion, but it is not steady. That bhav is not steady. I mean, we also sometimes feel some bhav, but to have steady symptoms means you have all these symptoms that how I feel. But maybe it's in the initial stage, it's budding, so later on it will manifest like that. So
This is a very interesting point, because particularly the point regarding don't waste time. Don't waste time is equivalent to asakti stage. Correct? So you don't waste time. You are always into Krishna Katha. So that is a wonderful
detachment from
revelation.
material sense gratification,
Correct.
desires from material, virakti, that automatically has to be there. Otherwise, Prabhupada says the test of spiritual advancement is how much you have become detached from desires for sense, especially sex desire, he says. Because this is the binding force in the material existence. And he says, how much you are detached from this, that's proportionate to your advancement.
Yes.
So, I mean, in Bhagavatam we read how Brahma came out of this lotus flower. He came out of this lotus flower. He did not know who created him, and then he heard the word tapa, did austerity for so many years, and then he realized the Golok Vrindavan, and Krishna. So, did we do that as Brahma? Because we read the purport that we were all Brahma. And then Prabhupada also said the Brahma glides down to different species, down to the ant and the worms. So did we do that tapasya? And if he was able to see Krishna, then how could he glide down and fall down into lower species?
First we fell down, we knew Krishna, and then we developed this Krishna Bahirmukh. Yes, this is what Srila Prabhupada says. Jiva Goswami doesn't say like this. Jiva Goswami says we were always in the material sky only, anadi. And so there is one controversy regarding this. But again, it's also said that it's not controversial, because anadi we were here only. All right, we started being Brahmaji, and Krishna only revealed the Vedas to us. Vedas reveal Krishna. So Vedascha Sarver Ham Eva Vedyo. So Vedas reveal Krishna. Krishna revealed Vedas to Brahmaji. So Brahmaji most probably must have got a taste of Goloka, but that particular element of Dvesha most probably remains, which is the reason why we fall down from Brahmaji's position also. For example, Indra's position is understood, but Brahmaji's position that we fell down, and currently this is the situation that we are in, is very strange. But Anadi is very important, because Mahavishnu is like breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. He's contracting everything, and then he's creating Kal, breathing out. And we have been there. Through all these breathings and breathe outs, we have been there. Anadi. And even when, for example, when he actually breathed out and all these got created, the glands, plans, everything, we entered into this universe first time in this universe. Not first time falling from the material sky. First time when we were lying on the body of Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and Brahmaji is most probably picked us up and he planted us somewhere through his sons, obviously. We don't know what we were.
All Brahmas are not pure devotees also.
Yes, absolutely right. That is also true. Brahma need not be pure devotee. Fortunately, our Brahma is, because he became Haridas Thakur, and he is being used by Krishna for some of his pastimes to show his potency.
Like in Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, I don't want to be a Brahma who is averse to you. In one song he says that.
And Brahma also gets bewildered by his daughter. He gives up his body, it's mentioned.
That is our Brahma only, but he's a pure
Is
devotee.
it? No.
He gives up his body.
It's not our Brahma, because that Brahma was not a pure devotee who got bewildered. How could he be?
But even a pure devotee may fall, but still
No, but he
can-
gave up his body. That Brahma who got bewildered gave up his body of Brahma.
It seems it is this Brahma only, but he gave up his body and got a new body. Got a new body, which is pure.
Our Brahma is.
But whatever being. Anyways, so many Brahmas. Like in Dwarka and all, Brahma's 4-headed Brahma, he went and saw that there are some 10-headed Brahma and 100-headed Brahma.
So which universe Brahma was that story? We don't know.
Prabhupada sometimes said that you cannot know the complete greatness of Krishna, but you can surrender to Krishna. Because Krishna is infinite, you cannot know all his potencies. We know some what is described in the Bhagavatam a little bit, but you can surrender to Krishna. And he said, if you know three things, your Krishna consciousness is finished. Krishna is God, you are servant of Krishna's spirit souls, part and parcel, and your duty is to serve God. If you know these three things, he said in one lecture, bas, finished, Krishna consciousness is finished. I mean, the conviction about these three things, that I am Krishna's part and parcel, servant of Krishna, I should surrender to Krishna, and I should engage in his service full time, you're done. There's nothing else. I mean, there are so many things in the Bhagavatam, so many different universes and this, but if you're convinced about, like there was this lady in Vrindavan, right? She was bringing water from the Yamuna. She has not done any maybe Bhakti Shastri or Bhakti Vaibhav or Bhakti Sarvabhauma or anything. But Prabhupada said for this service, she'll go back home, back to Godhead. Because every day she was bringing water from the Yamuna in the morning consistently. And Prabhupada says, I was living in Radha Damodar temple, and that time there was nobody in the morning to open, and I would be opening the door. And 15 years back, when Prabhupada came back to Vrindavan, he saw the same lady doing the same service. He says, for this service, she'll go back home. So, of course, it is of our consciousness also. We want to know more about Krishna also for preaching purposes and also like that. But it's the conviction in the heart that, you know, I am servant of Krishna.
And the attitude of service.
Attitude of service, yeah. In the Nectar of Instruction, Rupa Goswami's Prabhupada writes, the advancement of the disciple depends on the attitude of the follower. So we may know so many things. I mean, generally we may be scholars, but in what mood are we serving Krishna, right? Romarshan Sudha was also a very great scholar, right? He's a very big scholar, but that feeling for Krishna, that humility maybe was not there in his heart. So Balramji corrected. It was his mercy also, Balramji's mercy. Everything is mercy only.
Mercy.
Ultimately, whatever happens is mercy.
Yeah.
Krishna's mercy, right? Even if you get chastisement by material energy, that is also mercy only. Because to correct us. But it's indirect mercy. It's not direct mercy. But through Maya, this mercy is coming. But everything is mercy, right? Yes. So we learn the hard way or we learn the soft way. So it's up to us.
And the faster way of developing bhav is to associate with the devotees already in the bhav stage. Quickly you will become I think in Jaiva Dharma there is a story, Adinanda Prabhu was telling that this person saw another devotee crying, and just seeing that person crying, that developed emotions.
That's why they say Tishtan Rajeta Dhanuragi Jananugam. And it says you should reside in Raj and the guidance of those who are Jananugami. Yeah, one should serve those who are attached to the Lord. But we have Rajvasi here. We could see, like you were saying, our parampara is all manjaris and all this Prabhupada. So by serving Prabhupada, we get the same, rasa. We don't have to do anything. Just take instructions of Prabhupada. And sometimes people leave ISKCON. They say, "Oh, Prabhupada didn't give everything," or there is the Rasika Bhav is not there, or something like that.
Correct.
They go to some other, but we have the Mahabhagavad devotee Prabhupada with us. So but we can hear from all Gaudiya Vaishnavas.
When he was on deathbed and he was giving his Bhagavatam class, Bhagavatam purports, he was dictating. That was the Rasika Bhav only. So we have got everything from Srila Prabhupada.
They say participating in Sankirtan movement is Raslila.
Engaging others in service of Radharani.
Yeah. Like Yashoda wanted to bind Krishna, but she didn't want, she engaged everybody in binding Krishna. Ayendra Prabhu was saying that, she was trying to bind Krishna, but she called all the gopis and everybody, "Oh, please help." So we have engaged everybody, come and serve Krishna. That is basically the whole mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy only we will approach Radha Krishna. Otherwise, no way we can approach. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants this Sankirtan movement. He said, "I have only two hands, I am only one gardener, I have so many fruits to distribute. You all please help. So this is our mood. And that's why Prabhupada came to give this knowledge. Right? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, one devotee asked one Balaji in Vrindavan, what is Gopi Bhav? And he said that Gopi Bhav is when you're 70 years old and you leave Vrindavan to go on a ship, have 2 heart attacks, go to a foreign land you've never been to before to tell other people about Krishna. That is Gopi Bhav.
And also mercy is there, but then it's also on individuals to grab that mercy, right?
Free will.
Yeah.
All free will.
Prabhupada has given so much of mercy in the form of his books, lectures, devotees, ISKCON, and then if we don't take advantage of that, the morning programs.
Yeah. Mercy, like we say, you do as if everything depends on you, and you pray as if everything depends on Krishna. So all the Acharya's songs that you play, they said, I don't have any qualification. I can only beg for mercy. Kandiya, they run after you. Like be in a humble mood and try to serve all the devotees that from within their heart we get blessings, and that is mercy, right? We try to follow the instructions. That is our own endeavor. We're talking about. But 99% is mercy means we have to be in a humble mood that my endeavor will not take me back home. I have to get mercy for Vaishnavas. They be pleased with me in my service.
There's a nice purport Prabhupada says in the Bhagavatam. He says, advancement in Krishna consciousness and easygoing life, they go ill together. The Lord wants to see how painstaking the devotee is in his service. Means what are you willing to sacrifice for his service? How much risk, how much sacrifice you will make of your comforts and everything for serving Krishna. So when Krishna sees that, oh, this person is then he gives his mercy. Of course, mercy, overall mercy is there, because without mercy we cannot survive. The air we are breathing, every breath is a mercy, right? Otherwise, air is also provided by Krishna. But to get extra mercy of Krishna in form of his love and reciprocation, Krishna wants to see how eager that person. That's why we say, if tatra laulyam api mulyam ekalam. If you want to get this, then you have to have intense greed. So it is up to us to have that greed, that like you were saying, that it is there, but how much you want to get it, like Thanksgiving times, people are very greedy to get so many things. So they are going on the website or in the shop because they're very eager to get it. So in the same way, how much we feel very like inclined to get, that is the intensity of desire. That's the main thing. Like one time, I heard from Romapad Maharaj, he was saying that one lady in the instead of Charnamrit, she put salt in the Charnamrit because it's white, right? Salt is white, sugar is white. And Prabhupada took a sip out of it and he made a face. And that lady said, it is all Krishna's mercy, it's all Krishna's arrangement that, by mistake. And Prabhupada was not happy about it. That, it happened by Krishna's will only, that you put, without Krishna's sanction, not even a blade of grass will move. But you have to accept that, you made a mistake. Instead of putting sugar, you put salt in the Charnamrit. So if you say it's Krishna's mercy and I don't improve, then of course it's Krishna's mercy. To get chastised by spiritual master is also Krishna's mercy. So then, Prabhupada chastised him. So chastised her. She was not happy about it. So like that. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
So this is, maybe we can use this class as an example that even 4 verses can be covered in 45 minutes. So all goes to Swarupa Krishna Prabhu.
Vanchakalpatarubhascha kripa sindhuvaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.